Hamilton Mayor Fred Eisenberger joins us this morning. So thanks very much. Let's get right to our top story this morning. One of our top stories is the new mobile testing clinic that opens today. Why the need for this in Hamilton?
We are somewhat lagging behind Annette in terms of vaccination, and so we're trying to everything possible to get to where people are in the kind of low vaccination space. And we have some lower city locations. We have some locations out in Flamborough. So this mobile clinic will allow them to get access to it, take some of the barriers away in terms of people not being able to get to a vaccination clinic. And so we're bringing the vaccination clinic to them, and hopefully that will help increase our vaccination rate, which, by and large is doing okay. I think we have about 84% of our population with the first dose and almost 80% with the second dose, but we want to get to that 90%. So we've got a ways to go, and we certainly encourage everyone that has not yet been vaccinated to get a vaccine.
Right, and this new clinic, the Dominic Agostino at the community center there, it's also for testing, right, which is really important.
Right, and so testing becomes part of the regime, especially for some folks that are not particularly keen on getting vaccinated. They're going to have to go through a significant testing regime, but also those that might feel that they've contracted some symptoms of COVID. That early testing and early intervention is the best way for us to catch this virus and prevent it from spreading. So testing will be frequent.
Mm-hmm. What's the latest on the encampment situation in Hamilton?
Well, as you know, there's a court case scheduled that actually was set aside until today because of court availability. And at the moment, there's an injunction against some of the enforcement that we've been trying to do to not have people camping in our parks. These are not safe sanitary conditions for people to be living in, and we're doing everything possible to get people into to organized shelter, housing, affordable housing, and we've had some great success over the last year or so. For 440 people have been moved out of the encampment areas into more permanent housing. So that's an effort that will continue. But at the same time, we have a bylaw that says that you're not allowed to camp in our park spaces, and for good reason. We don't want our parks to be overrun with people that decide they want to camp out in our parks. So that's not something that we're going to adhere to. We're going to do everything we can to move people out of those parks. And right now, the challenge in the bylaw is that they've challenged us by not allowing us to move people out of parks without having a good permanent place for them to go. So we're doing everything possible to get proper, affordable and/or shelter space for those that are living rough in our community.
Okay. Speaking of housing, a decision is expected on the urban boundary issue this week.
Actually, the decision's been set off, I think, till next week.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So a couple of weeks of extra time has been allotted for a couple of reports that needed to be finalized. But that decision is pending, so it's certainly just around the corner, and it'll be obviously a contentious one, given the amount of input and opinions we've received from various sectors in our community. But at the same time, I think we're going to have enough information to make hopefully a very informed decision that will serve this community well for the next 5, 10, or 20 years.
And that's a decision to either keep development within the city boundaries as is, or to go outside.
Yeah, I think the city has been founded on boundary expansion, right from the very beginning. I mean, more housing requires more space. The question today is, do we need more space, or do we have enough space in the urban boundary as it exists today to provide the kind of housing that is going to be necessary into the future? I would say that previously we had estimates of population growth from the province of Ontario that we got nowhere near to meeting, and again, we have some pretty aggressive population growth projections that may or may not come to pass, and so we're going to have to wade through all of those issues. My own personal opinion has always been that urban boundary expansion is something we want to do as a last resort, and especially in light of our newly invested in LRT, which we've said all along is certainly partly a transit project, but more significantly a redevelopment project that will provide additional housing all the way along the corridor. I would prefer to see that play out, and maximize the opportunity of providing housing in those spaces before we look at additional expansion.
Okay.
But that's something council is going to have to grapple with, and I'm sure we're going to have lots of opinions coming at us from all sides, and hopefully we'll factor all of those in to make an informed decision.
Okay, we will look for that next week then. Mayor Fred Eisenberger, thanks for joining us today. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.